Welcome, everyone. I'm delighted that you've joined me and us as we explore the pathway of spiritual awakening and enlightenment together. As we're waiting for people to come on, I'd like us to just meditate to a couple of little songs here from Zazen. And I think this is a good way to start the meditation. So I'd like for you to center yourself in your heart and just focus on spirit. Just focus on the love and the perfection of all of life when you can see it. So we'll begin here. Okay? Right on your heart. Take a breath. Relax. Be here right now. And welcome again. You may find yourself questioning a lot of things lately. Why is life the way it is? Why is there so much suffering, so much pain and heartache? Why is there all of this aggression and the fanatic need to have everyone believe the same way you do? Why is all of this? I've been contemplating that this week. Life is very short. It's very short. And we have so little time to figure this out. So I'm going to start at the beginning. For me, the beginning is the end. And that is the notion of the creative nature of the universe. There is the unmanifest creation, which in Yaqui mysticism, they refer to it as the Nahual. Everything that there is, time, space, everything, comes from an emanation from the Nahual. We call it an emanation because you really can't see the Nahual, you can't know the Nahual, but you can experience it. But when you experience it, you can't talk about it because the minute you talk about it, you give it a structure. It falls into a dream. And this is before dreams. This is before structures. It is an elemental force, I guess you could call it. But it's hard to call it a force because force usually tells you that there's resistance. We need so much force to overcome so much resistance. But in this case, there is no resistance. It is infinite. It is not restricted by time nor space. It is before consciousness, and yet all consciousness springs forth from it. Everything springs forth from it. In Hinduism, it's called Brahma. That energy from which everything springs forth, but it has not manifested yet. When it manifests, it is held in place by the consciousness of Vishnu, which is everything. Time, space, dance. And then it is pulled back into the nothingness by Shiva energy. So your original nature is unmanifest. And yet, since you are made, here we're getting into words again, huh? Since you're made in the image and likeness of the Creator, you create your world. And then we wonder why our creations are so weird. Why do we suffer so much with our creations? And I know this sounds a little weird, but I have come to believe that it's all done with, for lack of a better word, um, vibration. You vibrate at a certain level and you have the experience of that vibration, which would be the karma of that vibration. So in this infinite field, this unmanifested field, there springs forth a dream. Now, this unmanifested field does not know limitation. It's impossible for it to know limitation. There is nothing but itself, and it is infinite, without limitation. But in that unlimited field, in that infinite field that knows no time or space, spaciousness beyond comprehension. Inside of that, you and I exist. And we exist in a dream that has limitation, a dream that has force, that has conflict, a dream that is based upon duality. I am here, that is there. I am here, God is there. I am here, you are there. You're different than me. You can never be me. And then when you become more aware, you realize that you can never not be everything that's around you. It's called oneness, being one with the universe. And realizing that I am in this infinite creation that knows no bounds, knows no limitations at all. And yet here I am suffering, having limitations, experiencing poverty, experiencing ill health sometimes, experiencing times of great joy and great exaltation, followed usually by despair and depression. We go from love and laughter to the depths of grief. Everything that we hold on to crumbles in our hands over time. I don't mean to depress you here. That's actually a good thing. um, but I've come to kind of realize that most of our suffering doesn't come from things or the loss of things. You don't suffer because your lover left you for somebody else. I mean, there's an ego, how dare they, but what you really mourn is the dreams that you had with that person. The dream of a home life, of raising a family, of being successful in your businesses, the dream of going on vacations and traveling together to foreign countries, the dream of exploring life together, the dream of getting old with somebody and having somebody there with you. These are all really wonderful, happy dreams. And so when your lover leaves you for someone else, all of those dreams collapse within you. And that's the suffering. Your ego attached to something. And this can not only just be relationships, this can also be jobs. It could be, politics where you're running for office or whatever. I mean, it could be anything. It's all going to go away. You realize that this dream is temporary. It's actually more temporary than you think. So it's kind of tough when you're going through life and you're experiencing the loss of dreams. We call that experience attachments. And Buddha said that suffering arises out of attachments and desires, the desires for those attachments to be permanent in our life. But soon, all too soon, we find ourselves getting old. We start looking at our life. What's really, really important? What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? When you've lost your compass, when you've lost that direction for enlightenment, you enter into hell worlds. What else is there for you? You create them yourself. You create them, you create these hell worlds out of your own attachments and desires for transitory things that will not last. We are urged to build our house upon the rock and not upon the sand. The rock is that of enlightenment, the spiritual path. It is the one thing that lasts beyond this life. It is the one thing that holds this life together. It is perfection. And yet we don't feel that perfection because our mind is going everywhere. We are so busy chasing after these hungry ghosts, these things and feelings and people that we're so sure will make us happy, that will fulfill us, that will make everybody appreciate and love us. We just follow these hungry ghosts. We can never get enough of them. We get them and then we have to have more. Too much is never enough. So when you meditate, you're consciously stopping your life. That's why we meditate. It's not a form of prayer. It's a form of stopping. Stopping your thoughts. Stopping your desires. That's always wanting to, get the new car, get the relationship, get the money, become successful, have everybody love you and care for you, acknowledge you. And then you die. And all of those things you wanted don't go with you. And you realize in that moment that what really matters was how much did you follow the pathway of awakening, the pathway of higher intention? How much did you let go of yourself to be of service to others? When did you quit judging and just be there? So when you meditate, you stop your thoughts. Have a mantra, you have something that because when the mind focuses on one thing, the thoughts stop. Whether that one thing is a mantra or a spiritual teacher or a tanka or a mandala of some sort, where you focus on maybe the concept of a god or a goddess. and you open yourself up to awakening, that's the only time you're ever going to be satisfied and be fulfilled. I know I've pretty much tried every path. But the pathway of enlightenment, this perfection, for a teacher, for someone who's enlightened, it's a very difficult thing to talk about because we are constrained to expressing ourselves through language and through culture. And the creative nature of the universe is not constricted by those things. You come into this dream and you enter into what the Tibetans called the six-windowed house. These are your five senses and your mental capacity. And you drop in and you have complete amnesia. That's part of the illusion. The illusion is falling into the dream of limitation. And it is a dream. It doesn't really exist. If you go into its, really go down into the basic building blocks of all of reality, you come back to this oneness, this infinite love that has no conditions. The rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. It is beyond definition. And yet here we are in this unlimited field, in this infinite nothingness, having a dream of limitation. And we drop into these six windows houses and we forget everything about ourselves. We're just awareness. And in that awareness, everything is pressed on around us. We're given a family, a language, a society, a religion, a political point of view, an educational spectrum of people around you may be very, very well educated, or they may not be very educated at all. It's different. You drop in and you learn a new life. And everything that you think about and everything that you do is just part of this blindness, a part of this dream. Many, many years ago, I was involved with one of the most intelligent women I've ever known. She was very, very smart. We had these amazing conversations. One day, as we were doing the dishes, I was washing, she was drying. I said, she told me, she said, you know, I was 21 years old when I had my first thought. Now, at the time, I was a religious science minister that believed in positive thinking and everything had to do with thoughts. So for her to tell me that she was 21 years old before she actually had her first thought, did not comprehend. I quit washing the dishes. I kept waiting for her to finish, and she didn't finish. She just kept drying the dishes. Finally, she realized that I wasn't giving her. She looked at me, and I said, "You got to tell me, what do you mean by that?" And she said, "Well, I was teaching Hatha yoga, and I had my first thought. I had a thought that was original for me. Every thought that I'd had up to that point, I had borrowed from other people. I'd borrowed their concepts, I'd borrowed their way they were putting things together. They weren't really my thoughts. I was just taking in from everybody and just kind of regurgitating it out and thinking that was me." And she says, "I had an original thought when I was 21. Have you had an original thought? Are you so busy regurgitating what everyone around you Your whole life has told you what was real and what was important. And you've been following their advice, all of these hungry ghosts that everybody's been telling you, do this, you'll be happy, graduate from there, you'll be a success, do this, do that. And you do it, and sometimes it works out for a while, and sometimes it doesn't. And you suffer because you're attached to a dream that is destined to end. All dreams end. But you never end. You will never end. You began with eternity, and you will be in eternity until the end of eternity. And by definition, eternity does not end. It's like they say, the good news and the bad news, right? The good news is you're going to live forever. The bad news is you're going to live forever. And every lifetime you come in and you have amnesia from before, and you just pick up where you left off. The things that you had overcome and learned to do well in a previous life, you'll be faced with those things again, but because you overcame them in an earlier life, it's just a piece of cake. You just keep going. Kind of like riding a bicycle. I went to Hawaii a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. Hard for me to remember. Went up Haleakala, caught a sunrise, and then we arranged to ride bicycles down the hill into the city. I hadn't ridden a bike in 20 years. I got on the bike and immediately fell off. Skinned my hand a little bit, but then I got back up. I thought, okay, do it right. And I rode all the way down Haleakala, over 10 miles or so. It's a long ways, all downhill. But I just picked it right up. I didn't have to learn how to ride the bicycle all over again. And that's how it is with every incarnation. With every incarnation, you pick up where you left off and you continue. A blind person, a deaf person going down the path. And what happens in a lifetime is that, like the old, saying about the blind men, the 6 blind men coming up on an elephant, and each one of them grabbing or touching a different part of the elephant and arguing about what the elephant was. Everything from, a leaf, touching the leaf, touching the ear, to a wall where you're touching the side of it, to the leg, it's a tree trunk. No, it's a little twig if you have the tail, or it's a snake if you have the trunk. And they're all arguing because they know that the elephant that they're holding in their hand is real. And they argue that the other part of the elephant can't be like that because that's what they have in their hand. And then you have the awakened soul who comes in, and maybe they don't see 100%, but they can see forms. They can see enough that, and they're willing to let go of their part of the elephant to touch another part of the elephant to see what that person is feeling and seeing. Oh, it does feel like a tree trunk. I move over a little bit further. Oh my gosh, it does feel like a wall touching the side. There's like a little twig at the end with the tail. In other words, you kind of get a complete picture of the elephant, not just one piece. But in our lifetimes, we just usually grab one piece of the elephant and fight anyone that disagrees with us because we know what's true. It's in our hand. Quit trying to make it all work. Surrender. Go into your heart. Meditate. Stop your thoughts. When terrible, horrible thoughts come up, or things come up in your life that you just don't know how to handle, you take those energies and you put them into the high heart, right up here, right between the center of the heart and the throat. You just put it right there and they just go right in. This is the entrance into Brahma. This is the portal into the Nahu. And what you put in there goes back to its original form of unconditional love. And in the place where that fear or anger or grief was, even though you may not feel it, you affirm that everything is divine love. Because it's really all there is, whether you feel it or not. And as you take these horrible feelings and dissolve them into the divine light and the divine love, releasing them all, then you become free. Liberation is being free of the thoughts and feelings of those who love you. That doesn't mean you can't be around people you love. Not at all. No, you need to be around people you love. But you don't need to be ruled by them. The problem with people that you love is that they have a firm grasp of that elephant and they don't want you to go anywhere but the way they want you to go. The elephant's a wall. There's no way that it feels in any way like a leaf. It's a wall. Come and touch it. Your relatives keep you in that position. They will not accept your new position. They want you where they have you. It's called being fixated. Fixated. So when you're fixated in a negative way, you're just kind of trapped by the thoughts and feelings of people you love. But when you free yourself of those thoughts, then you can heal yourself. Become free. So your daily meditation practice becomes one of going into the heart. Stopping your thoughts. And with all of your will and your intention, focus on the divine. On that is beyond thoughts and things. Back into the basic true nature of the universe, which is unconditional love. It's where you came from. And it's where you're going to end up. And so we band ourselves together with like-minded people who have come to a place in our growth where we realize that everything here is transitory. Nothing remains except enlightenment. The only way I can be fulfilled, the only way I can be truly happy is when I absorb that unconditional love in every aspect of my life. And I express that love through selfless service, through helping others. I express that love through compassion and wisdom, recognizing that when people come up against me and they don't like me, they don't like what I'm doing, it's because they're holding on to their part of the elephant and they refuse to let go of any other point of view. My favorite poem, which I misquote, but the idea is there, is that he who in his anger and outrage drew a circle to keep us out, we in our wisdom and compassion drew a larger circle that took him in. Draw the larger circle. Take in life. Take in everyone. Be wise. Don't just hang on to your part of the elephant and fight anybody that comes up different. They might be right. It's all right. So good luck as you go forward in love and in compassion and with wisdom. We're moving into a new age. As the aggression and the anger and the fear start to dissolve, the world will brighten up. As all of this negativity, all of this opposition and fighting starts to settle down, the pandemic will go away. It is the result of some really toxic energy. And as that energy goes away, the pandemic will go away. Get rid of the anger and the upset that's inside of you. The world is coming to a new place. Be part of the answer. Don't get so stuck on your piece of the elephant that you refuse to understand that other people have just as real an experience of God as you do. It's just different. Focus there. Just focus right here. And watch this. Good. That's good. That's good. I'm looking forward to sitting with you in person. It's much more powerful. Our time is very limited. I'm very aware of that. And that's okay. You know, limitation has limitations. Yeah, somebody can write that down. That might be pretty profound. So anyway, um, meditate on spirit. When you sit down to meditate on your little meditation table or wherever, or you sit down to pray, whatever, I want you to recall the highest meditation, the highest spiritual experience you've ever had. Recall that, think about that, try to remember how it felt and what you were going through, and start your meditation there. So you pull back and you maybe remember a meditation you had with your teacher, or maybe you had an epiphany while watching a sunset and everything just became one. Go to that place, remember it as much as you can, and begin your meditation there. The more you build upon nothingness, the better off you'll be, because things have a way of changing and going away. But the divine presence of love, the divine presence that holds us all and everything together, that perfection, that oneness that knows no limitations, is in your very breath. And what you focus on, you give it energy. So focus on the highest and the best. Let go of the fear, forgive everyone that's ever hurt you, and forgive yourself for all the people you have hurt. Resolve to live a clean, happy life, and to seek God with everything inside of you as much as you can. So have a great week. And listen to me. It's going to be okay. It is. Just keep meditating. Namaste.